Hi, welcome to ACCQ Continuing Professional Education. So we're going to talk about relevant costs, which is part of managerial accounting or management accounting, and a topic that is also included in strategic cost management. So as you know, itong relevant cost is which is a part of management accounting, is also a major subject given in the CPA board exam. But it is also equally important in the corporate world because of the decision making that it gives you management. So we're going to talk about this in a little while. So what is relevant cost or revenues, as the case may be? Hindi ito bagong subject na dito sa business, no? It may be new dito sa CPA board exam, but it has always been there. Part siya ng management accounting. Now, ngayon ginawa siyang isang subject sa mga accountancy students, no? And even non-accountancy students, no? Yung strategic cost management because of its importance, especially in decision making. Now, when we talk about relevance, no, or relevant cost or revenues, no, the word relevant, no, as I googled it a while ago, it means that it is closely connected or appropriate to what is being done or considered. So, in other words, nagkakaroon siya ng difference in decision making from two alternatives, no? So yung mga factors or components ng each alternative is relevant to the decision making. Hindi ba yung pag tinanggal yung isang component dito sa isang alternative na yan, no, it does not make a difference, then that is not relevant, no? So some example of that, no, usually dito sa relevant cost, yung fixed cost. But it's not in all cases. So we're going to talk about that in a little while. Now, when we talk about relevant cost or revenues, these are future costs or revenues that differ across alternatives. So the treatment of relevant revenues is the same as the relevant costs. Now, saan ba ginagamit itong relevant costs or revenues, as the case may be? So this is used in make or buy decisions, no? Ano ba itong make or buy decisions? Make or buy decisions, for example, let's say there are two alternatives. It's either to make a certain part of the product or to buy na lang sa outside supplier. So dito titignan yung alternatives, no? Saan mas advantageous yung company. So mamaya ipapakita natin 'yan. And another one is yung keep or drop decision. So this could also be explained, let's say yung dalawang segments ng company parehong nagge-generate ng revenue, pero yung isa medyo yung bang nalulugi na, no? And it affects yung pinaka consolidated ng company. So tinitignan kung if it's feasible to keep it or to drop. And yung special order decision, no? So kung let's say merong kukuha sa isang supplier ng maramihan ng bultuhan, no? So merong special order and yung may special price. And the last one is yung decision to sell or process further. Ayan. So these are just some of the uses of itong relevant cost na to. So we're going to have an illustration of that. Okay, so let's move forward to this example, no? So papakita natin dito kung ano yung relevant cost, kung ano yung from one alternative to the next, what makes a difference, no? Because that's the key phrase what makes the difference dun sa, ano na yun, dun sa, in both alternatives, no? So, let's look at this. So, Talmage Company produces 100,000 units of part 34B. So, ito yung, ano, yung part 34B is, ito yung isa sa mga components or yung, ano, yung, yun nga, part. Part ng isang produkto na kailangan nilang bilhin or gawin, no, para ma-produce yung finished product used in one of its snowblower engines. So, sabi ko na nga ba each year an outside supplier has offered to supply the part for $4.75. The unit cost is as follows. So, meron direct materials, direct labor, variable overhead, and yung fixed overhead. So, for a total unit cost of 4.85. Now, itong ano na to, itong mga cost na yan, ito yung halaga pagka gagawin natin, pagka gagawin ng kumpanya, gagawin pala nila ni Talmage. And yung itong 4.75 na yan, no, ito naman yung pinaka, no, yung hinihingi ng supplier na hindi na sila gagawa. So, sila na lang ang magsusupply ng part 34B para dun sa finished product nila. So, ano yung ano dito? Question dito is, what are the alternatives for Talmage Company? So, this is a make or buy decision making. So, gagawa tayo dito, so we'll place here. This is make, the cost of making, and the cost of buying. Tapos dito yung difference. Yan. So, tingnan muna natin yung mga yung mga components. So, after plotting yung itong heading na yan, which is make, yung pinaka-caption, make, buy, difference, no? So, gawin na natin yung ito yung mga factors na to, no, in decision making. So this one, yung direct materials. Now in making the product, of course kailangan nilang bumili ng direct materials para magawa yung part 34B. So now in buying that, of course kung buy yung nila, yung kanilang decision, hindi na nila kailangan bumili pa ng direct materials. So it has it makes a difference between two alternatives. So that's why this makes direct materials a relevant cost. So lalagay natin dito direct materials, no? Napapansin nyo, pula na yung pansulat ko, no? Naubusan na ng tinta yung black, no? So meron namang alternative, no? So it makes a difference. So this one's a direct material. Okay, so let's place here. So magkano siya? It's it's 50. Okay, so lagay natin dito 50 dito na, yeah, 50.50 this one times 100,000 units. 100,000 units. Ayun, this one. Okay, and this one. So magkano yun? That's $50,000 without even computing kasi kalahati lang ng 100,000. So, it's $50,000. So, minsan po kaya ng computing, especially pagka rounded naman yung amount. No? It's better na. Madali lang. No? And the next one, ano pa yung, aside from the direct materials, ano pa yung relevant cost dito? Yung direct labor. Why? Kasi if they decided to make, then they have to pay labor. No, if they decided to buy, then they don't have to pay labor. So it differs in two situations. So therefore, it is relevant. If it differs in two situations, in each situations, then it is relevant. So lagay natin dito direct labor. Ayan. So by the way, lagyan na lang natin dito, no? So difference is 50,000. There. Okay. And then yung sa isa naman, this one is direct labor. So kunin natin rin yung presyo. Magkano? 2.40 this one. multiplied by 100,000 pesos. Ako na bahala dyan. Dali lang yan. No? 240,000. Pagka kinukompute sa whole amount, especially pagka mga 10,000, 100,000, madali lang eh. So, this one, hindi ka naman, if you buy it, hindi ka mag-incur ng direct labor. So, 240,000 is the difference here. Okay? And then yung this one, no? Yung variable overhead. Of course, in making that variable overhead, in making that yung component, yung 34B, no? They would also incur yung overhead. Kasi normally itong overhead, variable overhead na yan, ano yan, kumbaga kailangan yan. It's part of the in manufacturing. So, which is yung power. So, this would be, galin lang natin yan para makita natin yung computation. So, 0.90 times 100,000. So, this would be 90,000. Ayan. Okay, so wala yan. So, this would be 90,000. Okay, now, fixed overhead. Okay, so the fixed overhead is 1.05. Now, this is the tricky part kasi itong fixed overhead, normally whether they make it or they buy it, they will still incur the fixed overhead. No? Tuloy-tuloy pa rin siya. Bakit? Kasi fixed eh. Pagka fixed cost, normally, straight line yan. Hindi siya dependent dun sa gagawin. So, a good example of that is, let's say, yung depreciation ng factory. Now, whether gumawa sila nung produkto or hindi, tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung depreciation ng factory. So, this is a fixed overhead. So, another one is yung may kinalaman doon sa let's say doon sa factory, like for example yung rent non, or yung kung ano pa yung mga fixed expenses doon na kahit na hindi sila gumawa ng produkto, they will still incur that. No, kahit magkaroon ng strike, they will still incur that. That's why it's fixed. So, it's not relevant. If it does not make any difference between two alternatives, then it's not relevant, then hindi natin isasama. Aside from the fixed, ano pa ba yung kailangan natin isama? Yung purchase price nung purchase price nung supplier. Okay, why? Kasi, if they decided to purchase instead of making that, so, meron silang gagastos na $4.75 times 100,000. Okay, so, offer to supply for 475,000. So, this one would be 475,000. Okay, so you just bring forward the amount here for $75,000. So this one is parenthesis negative, no? Kasi ma-minus natin yung making from the buying. Okay, now let's get the total of this one. So this one would be 330 plus 50. This is 380. And this one, this is the cost of making, and the cost of buying is 475,000. Ayan. Now, magkano yung difference nitong dalawa? So, this would be $95,000. $95,000. Yan. Okay, so which means mas makakatipid sila ng $95,000 pagka gagawin nila kaysa dun sa bibili nila. Ayan. As we can see here, 380,000 lang yung magagastos nila if they're going to make it. And if they're buying it, no? Okay, they would spend $475,000 which is about a $95,000 difference. Now, so the best alternative here is to make it in-house. So if you have any questions, you can write down your comment below, and of course subscribe and share this information to your friends, your colleagues, if you find this useful. And of course, stay safe in these times, no, na medyo bumabagyo, no, sa labas, no? So stay safe, God bless, and keep your hands clean.